What's up, guys? We are back again. Now, this time it is the Dragon Ball Super Premiere set, and I have a few guests with me to kind of go over the set. We're going to specifically talk about each of the styled cards and the masteries. I'm going to leave the non-styled stuff and the MPs for kind of everybody else to either go over, or I might cover the non-styled cards at a different time. But anyway, guys, I'd like to introduce all my guests with me. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, guys.
I'm Henry Johnson. I'm from the SoCal area.
Jeff Sosa, Utah or Mountain Play Group.
Axel Bailey. I'm originally from South Louisiana and recently moved to Texas. So if anyone's in Texas, hit me up.
And Wayne Bettis, aka the Kid Wayne, from the East Side, also looking for players to hit me up.
Hey.
I'm down.
Yeah, and well, so I wanted to kind of assemble you guys all here because you're all each from kind of a different region, which is really awesome that I was able to get you all. Of course, myself being from Midwest, and I usually play with the Wisconsin, Illinois crew when I make travels. But anyway, we're gonna go through the Dropbox here. Of course, you can find that on the FanZ TCG. .wordpress webpage that we have for the community. You can find us on the Retro DBZ Facebook page. But anyway, I got the Dropbox document here. And so the first set of cards we're going to talk about is the Black Style cards that came out in the Super set. So we'll start with the Black Meditative Mastery. Of course, this says, all of your setups gain banish after use, and then has an instant power at the end of combat. You can choose a setup in your discard pile and rejuvenate it. So what's really interesting already is every setup, regardless of style or not, is getting banished and are rejuvable. And then, of course, power, you destroy a setup you control to search your life deck for two different non-limited styled setups and play them. So what do you guys think about this?
I would actually love to take the leading on this because I've been messing around with this mastery a lot recently, and it's debatably probably like a B tier, A tier type mastery. It's not the best, but it's still good enough. It's definitely a control dream mastery, but the issue is that against aggro decks you're getting bopped if you don't have a consistent setup to tutor, so you're gonna want to run the MPs like Android 17 or Krillin or Bojack. Actually, you don't want to run Bojack, he sucks, but any other MPs that can consistently get setups out to tutor for the other good setups. I think this is Android 17's best mastery, hands down, because you will always get the van out. You have your Android allies to tutor and Android cards to tutor with for those effects. And I actually realized that Black Signal is a card, and this mastery made Black Signal an amazing card with 17. And even just by itself, if you have other MPs or effects that go off of discard effects, it gave a lot of setups new viability to use with the black style, and the only issue with the mastery is that it only pairs with a few certain MPs really well. It's good for what it does, but you need an MP that really carries the mastery with it.
It's going to be really important how you build this mastery because deck space is pretty tight, and your main resource is BAU. So the cards and the set play into that a lot.
Yeah, so even if you have an MP that can tutor it out, or even has really good setups, I always think a little bit of Raditz when it comes to setups coming in and out. You're only going to see those once, as they all gain that banish after use. And even if you use an MP like set 10 Krillin, you're not going to see a ton of those tutors come back out. So you have to really be careful on what you do put in and what you don't put in, because you could accidentally put in a lot of fluff that sounds really cool on paper, but then you go up against any hard beats mastery and you're kind of doomed.
Yeah, I kind of in a way agree with all three of you. Like Axel was saying, I think that you have to play an MP that lends itself to the setup strategy. Like Henry is saying, you can get bopped, so I think that it's important to run some kind of filtering, because obviously if you're going to be playing an abundance of setups, so they're gonna get clogged in your hand sometimes, and you're going to need a way to filter those. And like Jeff was saying, I also think that if you're playing setups in black, right, what are some of the most powerful ones, right? You got Diaboxene's a new one. Searching Technique is another power up. All the lend itself to a more passive strategy. So I think that you're also going to have to run something that's going to be able to get you, out of dodge from time to time. So, and you're doing all these things, and that's fine. But how many of those things are winning you the game? You know what I mean? That's why I've been like, kind of like iffy on this mastery, because it's like, what's the win condition?
They aren't winning you games, but they are putting you in the control state because it gives you the option to select for each matchup each time you go and destroy and search. But again, you limit your deck to whatever MP you're using, and then what setups really mesh well with them. Like I've seen like Meditative ran with like Cooler, Bojack, other MPs. Like if your MP struggles in any way whatsoever to be passive, then it's not a good mastery for it.
Yeah.
Oh, and I kind of wish the mastery, instead of just searching for styled setups, could search for named, because I think that would have given it a lot of stretch in how you could run something like Malicious Intent, which then does help you cycle better. It does help you to give you a way of not only picking cards out, but also picking your own to put on top. And
at the risk of giving Roshi and Virus free naps and slumbers.
yeah,
I mean,
that is definitely a bad side effect.
well, that's the thing. Malicious Intent does have some comboing with that master already. You blow it up, and then you get the critical damage effect on critical damage on your next attack for what that's worth.
And then
can't you pop maximum shout on anybody's card? I can't remember if it's opponent's only too for what that's worth. You could banish your own. I don't know. Not a good combo. Like I think Jeff made a great point is not to fluff your deck up, and Wayne made a great point. There's like 9 automatic like black set. Not always Diabolical Scheme, I guess, but Diabolical Scheme is arguably almost better than Searching Tech, right? You already have all these slots taken up by this mastery, wanting to run these powerful setups. So where are you going to find the room? And each black mastery has its own kind of setup that it wants to run that synergizes really well with the mastery. We'll get into well, there's one that we're going to talk about here, but so I think the spacing and figuring out what cards to run is really key. I've been watching people play this mastery. I'm going to keep watching people play this mastery, so I don't have to do all the hard work. But good mastery. Good mastery, I think. We'll move on to the next card here. Speaking of cards, Black Dominion. You guys all know what this card does?
Yeah.
The setup. What do you guys think?
Like this card, honestly, when I see that, obviously it has the parenthetical. If it's destroyed from play by one of your effects, you rejuvenate it. So obviously that's for meditative. But I feel like this card is really good in non-meditative decks because it's like the first kind of like Searching Tech-esque card that isn't BAU. So like Roshi loves that, and MPs kind of like Roshi. You get a black absorption. You can just keep top decking and kind of almost looping these. And again, it's also another Searching Tech card that you can play in meditative. So I don't know, 3 endurance. 3 endurance is nice. That's fat.
It's kind of like reminiscent of that set 1 block. Remember that old block that used to block you get the
resistance?
Corruption.
No. What is it?
Black
Corruption. It wasn't corruption.
The event.
Or adaptation, sorry, the event one.
Yeah. Did anyone ever play that card back in the day?
Oh, a great card.
Oh, yeah.
I used to play it all the time because it was great in the Krillin mirrors.
Yep.
But on a block, it felt amazing. I don't know if the feeling would be the same on a setup. I have zero testing with it, so I have no idea. That's just the first question that comes to my mind.
So Black and Range Assault does the same thing this card does, but better. It does goofy damage. It has a little less endurance. The fact that split damage is really good back when Devious was around, and it was a great set 2, set 3 era card. The Black Raditz loved it. I'd even see some Krillins run it, but really it was like one of those like off-meta black decks was running it. And Dominion just doesn't do enough in its actual effect. It's cool, but you're choosing this card slot-wise over how many good black setups that are just so much better. And this is conditional on your opponent having something good in their discard pile. Not good enough. Even in meditative, and meditative is what it really streams to be played in.
Yeah,
But
yeah, y'all forgetting about the best, the perceptive. Come on, man. You know you want to run a fucking setup in perceptive mastery.
yeah, I don't know. Not good enough.
It'd be cool if it was a mimicry card. It says copy.
Hey,
Yeah.
I think blue deserves a free search.
They already
don't
have
have that
energy
belt.
push, homie.
Energy
They don't need
push, yeah.
anything else.
I can do one more.
I also feel like in the last couple sets, like Black has gotten like even better at like dealing with your opponent's discard pile, like banish wise. So I think that like it's counterproductive to what Black has been doing inherently by destroying your opponent's discard pile because they're not going to have anything for Dominion to target eventually if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
There's no nothing good in there.
And that condition makes it harder because if they really don't have anything in the discard pile that you can target or want to target, then really you're just running it for the parenthetical, so you stop running out of setups to search. I mean, you could use the mastery power, search this out as one of the two, and then just keep, looping it in a way, but eventually you have to use the power, I imagine. And so it just seems kind of lackluster. I think it would be definitely a lot easier to auto include if it searched your life deck for all copies, because Black already set that precedent with a few cards. So it wouldn't necessarily be too powerful because you already have blocks that do the same.
I think if it did that, if it searched all copies of a card out of their pile, it would be. I think it would be Black's searching technique tier good, but it would still not be as good because searching technique always gets to give you any two things you want, whereas Dominion would still rely on them having that copy in the pile, and yeah, I don't know. It's close. It's like even with that, I don't know if I'd run it necessarily, but we'll move on to the next card here. We got Black Secret. Stock 3 styled setups from your discard pile on top of your life deck. Why was this card made?
Amazing late game.
Yeah.
Especially if you're getting bopped. It's made for if you're losing.
Yeah, it's really good with it's really good with MPs with hand knowledge too, because you can tell when combat's gonna end, and Black already has hand knowledge. So you wait, and then you throw your 3 black power ups right on the top of your deck. And just like this is good in meditative, but your setups are being banished, so this is like even more nuts for the other control-y Black Masteries.
Yeah, definitely. But even still in meditative, you're not gonna see every single setup, and half the time your opponent's gonna be like trying to banish them from your discard pile. So you gotta like take risks and like just try and constantly get it out of your discard pile. So that's a really good just like free out. I'm actually gonna.
But sadly, you can't even search this one from the power of the mastery because it's a limit one.
Yeah. Wayne, you had something.
Right.
Nah, Jeff just shut me up, bro. I was gonna say this card's amazing, and I'm gonna tell you why, because the decks that are gonna be playing this card are not gonna be your aggro decks, right? We can all agree that that's the case. And we've all been in those games where someone will enter on you, and you'll do like something, whether it be like a setup, stare down, a confrontation, maybe play a time, something that wrecks the combat for them, right? And once you realize that the combat is wrecked for them, that's when you pop off this card, especially if you're running the new mastery. You can just bust something you don't care about, go get this set up for your next turn, in which you're going to play 3 dead cards, and now you're in a great position. But if you can't pop the mastery and get it, like Jeff was just saying, it's less good. It's still pretty good, but it's not as good as I thought it was 10 seconds ago.
This is a manipulative card. This is a stack up your max shot, your Black research on top, pop them off, and then on top of manipulative, you're able to wait out a combat. So the big thing with this card is that it's kind of like sitting with a Dragon Radar when you're like in a Namekian deck with deck playing Ball 7, right? So the idea is that your opponent is going to have to hold an extra card to try to play around the fact that you're going to top deck, so you can bait people into playing their hand suboptimally or not using their full hand. And then if you use manipulative with his mastery, they try to throw the attack at you to knock the cards off you stack, and you have a prevent. So you have a lot of protection in that sense with this card in those two situations where you're forcing, as long as you have it out there, you bait your opponent, and you can defensively play around this card, so that way you always get the top deck. So, um, yeah, it does suck that you can't. I thank God you can't tutor it with the mastery. But even then, I don't think I would ever tutor this card. To be completely honest, almost never would I tutor this card. It's such a late game card, like Henry said. So, really, really powerful card though. Really, really powerful.
Kind of like reminds you of how like late game ball 7 feels, kind of just stacking your deck with exactly what you need for the upcoming turn. And that's always been like a game breaking effect. So like until I guess I'm shown otherwise, my brain wants to think that this is similar to that. Obviously, it's different because ball 7 can pick anything. Go ahead, Axel.
It's like a Visage, essentially. It's another
Yeah.
Visage type card. You just have to hit the time bomb. You just sit and just let your opponent like hit me, please. I want to use this card.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Good card. I think what do we have? Like three more black cards. Black Nostalgia Drill. I forgot who previewed. It was Tommy previewed this one at Gen Con. It's Devious Mastery, conditionally.
Yeah. It's obviously really good. I mean, black kind of, I don't know. I always feel like black drills have like a pretty thick level of inconsistency to them.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's pretty good. If you're a black deck that can utilize drills, it can be pretty nuts. The only problem is like you're already a black deck that has drills, so you probably have a lot of dead cards. So activating a desperation effect could be kind of hard. I mean, you can always pitch the dead card, but there are a lot of scenarios where you have more than one dead card.
Yeah, especially for black, and you don't want to have all those dead cards. And half the time, like you could be just running the better cards that do the effects of Nostalgia Drill. Like the only that I really see is the discard for discard, but even then, like that's just risking y'all getting to that far into combat to where like you're just ditching your hand and hoping that it goes back to you. I don't think it's a great card. It's meh.
I'm with you on that one. This is like redundancy the card. We already talked about how black is getting really good at banishing your opponent's discard pile. That's what this card does. We literally got a couple masteries that let you discard cards out of your opponent's hand. Like this card doesn't have endurance. Like I don't understand what the draw is to this card. Like unless you're specifically trying to take advantage of like the desperation mechanic, which I don't think has the legs to really shoot for right now. But I can't think of a good reason to play this card at this juncture.
Why would you not run strength test over this card?
Yeah, exactly. I'm it's a pass for me on this one.
I think this card will make some use in some decks. I think you guys raised a great point. Right now, I'm curious to see. There's decks that run like Black Mist for that discard outlet, and MPs that run for the discard outlet. So this will be really nice for decks that can tutor drills that want a discard outlet and they don't want to run Mist. They don't want to because they don't have an engine that feeds off Mist. I'm always down for black to get more discard outlets. So I think this card is like very well balanced. But like you said, I don't know how often the desperation mechanic's going off in a black deck. So.
I think the drill would have been better if the desperation wasn't there because no black's never gonna ever want to use a desperation effect no matter what scenario I'd ever think. And even then, it's not completely busted because it's not an instant effect. You're like literally sacrificing a turn and a card just to banish two and discard, especially if you're discarding your last card. The drill needed a bit more juice to like really even be like really useful, I'd say.
I think it would have been too powerful if it didn't have the desperation.
Yeah. It'd be pretty strong if it didn't have the desperation effect.
Yeah.
Because then you can just pitch your dead card, even if you had multiple.
Devious Mastery is banned for a reason.
Devious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and in the Utah group, we like to call cards like this a win more card, where it's like it seems really good, and in the moment where its effect is fully being used, you just win more.
Yeah.
It's a great card in the perfect moment, but most of those moments don't happen. So like a Roshi that has this drill out and wants to banish from the discard pile, great, wonderful, amazing. A Vegito that needs a way to discard because you're not running a discard mastery, great, wonderful. But it's more of oh, I'm already having a good combat. I'm already having a good situation, and I'm going to use this to win more.
Yeah, I agree. We'll
There's a
move on
lot
to
of those in this
we'll move on to the next card here. Black Inner Focus. This is my favorite black card of the set. Event, of course. Search your left for stout setup and place into play. God trait, banish 2 from your opponent's discard pile. Banish after use. Anybody touching this card? I mean, I could talk about this card.
I mean, it's pretty obvious.
It's for Supreme Kai.
Oh, not even. This card is so black already has black glare in this card, and now has this card that I can run 3 of. So it has 5 cards that can grab black power up. On top, actually more than that now. The final card here. But black has so many ways to go grab black power up to end combat and control combat. And that was the big weakness of meditative, was that you need to be able to weather the storm against beats decks. So now you have potentially 5 cards at tutor, black power up. You have defensive burst. You have blinding engine move, ball 7 available to every black deck. So your chances of drawing a combat ender are incredibly high now, or tutoring to a combat ender, incredibly high now.
But imagine how terrible this is going to be when Supreme Kai is using it. It's going to suck. He's just going to always have power-ups ready.
for everyone else.
Yeah, oh my god.
And I'm waiting for Black Supreme Kai to come back. That deck, that's still like an amazing card to pull, and it's just going to keep getting better with all this God support, especially like Black God support. Why?
I mean, black is already. I don't think Black Supreme Kai ever got bad, even after OPA went down to 1.
Never.
I don't think it was ever bad.
I don't think it ever got bad, but I think blue definitely got more support for the ally engine to get ramped up faster, so it kind of took preference. But I think cards like this help. And definitely if you're running more of a Beerus, this definitely will help you. Or if you just want to have a reason to run a god character in black. So I think of that beefy endurance, and I also think of, Janemba. Hey, let me get a combat ender. Hey, I can attach this later if it hits the discard pile.
Well, the Spanish after use is the only problem. So Beerus can't tutor this one too, which is really weird that they put the god trait on it, and he can't tutor it on too.
Or Beerus.
I don't know. I love this card. I have a pet deck, Black Wilo Manipulative, that runs this card at. I have it at 2 right now, and I have Black Lair 2 because I just can play Black Research the deck. So that's the deck, and it's super fun.
Okay. I was like, why the fuck would you run? And then you reminded me that card just shuffles itself back in. I completely forgot about that.
And
Everyone always forgets about that card.
Yeah, it was literally when that card came out, I was drunk as hell. Favorite card that ever came out that I don't play enough of. Well, we'll move on to the final black card, Black Redirection. And this is that card that I alluded to. Black has now got 6 cards in this set that can search. Setups in Black Redirection, of course, is like Orange Dismissal, but for setups. Great card.
Yeah, it's good now. Black has like 2 really good physical blocks for the black decks that don't want to level up, which it never really had. It always just, I guess it had Energized Guard, but this is pretty nice for any like setup heavy black deck.
I think it's cool. I think it's cool that black is finally getting like the orange treatment, and other styles too. Like having blocks that have utility that lets you filter whatever your deck is doing. Like we know that blue used to do with allies, with like blue flight or whatever, where you can just throw an ally and go get the one you want. Orange has been doing it since the beginning of time with drills. Now it's cool seeing black do it with setups. And it would be even cooler to see some of the other styles do it with the things that they like to do. Maybe we'll see a sand block that lets you go switch an attach card or something like that. But yeah, I love everything about this card. It's dope.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement. It's a card, good card.
Card.
All right, well that was black. I think overall black got really cool. Is there anything that you guys wish black would have got?
It could have used. It doesn't need an attack, but it's kind of funny to have a set with no attack for a style. Like a good meditative card that does real damage would have been neat. I mean, that's Sinister Choke, but like, I don't know. Like a card. What if a card said like it does like the amount of life cards the same to the amount of setups in your banish zone, like with a cap, kind of like the mimicry card. Like that'd be pretty cool. Give it some damage.
I'm sure we'll see some blue punishment type cards for each mastery, like as the sets go on. They just have to see like how busted is it already, and I think black is at a very good just level at the game right now. It's not completely busted and it's not bad. It's probably like it's an A tier mastery, like a good all around complete set of a style now, I'd say.
I like how this just as a whole gives it a base for a new mastery. Unlike some other ones we'll talk in the future.
Wayne, you got any comment? Oh, your mic's.
So I was saying, I would agree with Henry. It would have been nice to see an attack here. Maybe something, and I don't even care what it done as long as it had endurance and it had a hit effect that you can get a setup from somewhere.
Orange
That would be
PowerPoint, black PowerPoint.
Yeah, exactly. Like that would be a synergy, and I think they should do that more. Like I mentioned earlier, like taking some of the old ideas but putting a spin on it to fit the style is, I think, that's something that hasn't been done that probably can be done, and it would be like a familiar feeling, and at the same time it would be fresh. So maybe we'll see some more of that in the future.
I like that idea, and I like the idea of like a carpet attack technique kind of card that you just blow up all your setups on the table to do a million damage.
Carpet bomb,
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're gonna have to make that a named card.
Word.
But anyway, all right. So we'll get into blue here. Blue Unity Mastery. I'm not gonna read this one. This is Adept Mastery, but for allies. A lot of people seem to hate on this mastery. I'm really kind of up in the air on it. I kind of think it's just not as good as it could be. I don't know what I would do to make it better, personally.
You could use something a little more, like a razor lower a player's anger, gain some stages, rejuvenate a card, or just like on there. It already has so many words as it is.
The fancy special.
Please. They made a blue mastery with 3 effects, and now they go back down to 2. Like, actually no, 4 effects. Sorry, well, fucking Resourceful had 4 effects, and it's still not even a busted mastery. So how did they go lesser and still make a worse mastery? Like, I don't think it's that great. You could, all the other styles do better with ally support, and Blue Unity Mastery, it's like, cool. Hope your ally don't get banished. Like, and once they're gone, it's you're losing that power effect of the ally's attack, and even then you're just constantly betting on that ally, and all the good attack allies already pair their MPs to attack for them. So it's like it seems like another just redundant card that we don't need. Blue already had
It'll
good.
be fun.
Yeah, tag masteries. It'll be for niche ally decks. Every other ally deck will want to run this. Like, I guess, like some Earthling build decks and Spirit Bomb Goku might be good. I don't know. I'm indifferent on it.
Yeah, I wish this had a modifier on it. Just that one little extra thing to help push it a bit.
Performed by your allies.
What kind of mod would you give it, Jeff?
Attack performed by your allies.
Personally, I would have given it a -1 life card, where it's decent. It helps protect the allies that you're getting out from crit, and as we've seen with characters like Future Gohan, like normally you ran it in protective to get you the anger management, but it was still a good solid ally build, and it was a good way of just camping on that level 1. But with other characters that want maybe an ally or two, a Spirit Bomb Goku would be perfect. You know, you get Spirit Bomb out, you start using the mastery to trigger out some allies, but it's still no more protecting them than if you ran tag. So I would love the -1 life card to really just buffer this and to make it stand out. So even if you only had 3 allies, like a Frieza deck, um, just kind of throw in some aliens, throw in some of that Frieza rejuve of arrogance to get the rest of your friends out, and then just free crits and run a ball deck. Like something like that would have been kind of cool.
That's actually like really smart because that would have like completely balanced out all the blue masteries because resourceful gives you +1 life. Tag team just protects your allies infinitely, and then the unity would have protected them in a different way, but also giving you that kind of risk reward of do I want to protect them from a banish zone or do I want to protect them from crits?
Mhm.
Like that would have given a lot more diversity instead of just like just going on a setback of just losing, rejuvening from banish zone or any other type of good effect.
My guess is that that wasn't included in the mastery because there are a couple cards that can get your allies back from banish. So I mean, if a specific ally is that important to your strategy, you can construct your deck in a way that you can rescue him from the banish zone. I love Jeff's idea about the -1 life card mod because it's like a sneaky way to do what you really want to do without broadcasting to the world, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to protect my allies. Because it has other applications. Like if that's not the case, like having a -1 life card mod is still going to help you do whatever you're trying to do, as long as it's survival, based. I would have liked to see. First of all, I think this mastery is pretty good. I think that it's not getting as much credit as I think it should. I think that a good allied blitz deck is going to come from this mastery. Some kind of Earthling variant, I think, is going to be just disgusting out of here. But if I was going to add something, I would probably. I would love to see, as much as I love the King Kai ally, I would love to see that on the mastery. Have all your PUR for your allies get +1. I think that would have been amazing because it allows you to just keep going with the allies that have energy attacks. You know what I mean? That's what I would have added if it was up to me.
All good suggestions. I like all of those, honestly. We'll move on to we'll start getting on the cards here. Blue cards this set seem to be all about allies, which is kind of a nice return to set 1 form. But we got Blue Resurrection Drill, so you can get a non-god trait ally from your discard pile and play it, and then as a desperation effect, you can search your banish zone instead. This card is pretty good.
I love this card. It's gonna be good in a lot. It's gonna be good for like protective and the non-ally mastery ally decks because they have a discard outlet too, so it's a lot easier to use the desperation effect.
I mean, it definitely feels. I don't know. It's great. The fact that it plays them too. I mean, this is a waiting drill card.
Yeah.
So I mean, hey.
Just about that.
Yeah.
I just this is a great example of what I wish desperation effects were like, where it's definitely you have to find a way to protect it or at least find a way to keep it out, and then it just has something that the style is already wants to do without it like completely hindering. And in an ally deck, most of the time, if you're having a really good combat, you're not having a ton of cards in hand. The allies are doing the work. So just to get another one out from the banish zone and to keep plowing through, I think that's really good.
I could also piggyback onto that really quick. It's also like Jeff was saying to the desperation. It's also refreshing to see a card where the first ability is also desirable. Because I think we've been seeing a lot of cards where the desperation ability is good, but the one that comes before that, we don't really want any parts of. So this card is different on that front too. So that's cool.
Yeah. I'm gonna move on to the next card since we all like this one. Blue Ritual. This is that event that you shuffle allies away, and then you get an anger +1 for every ally you shuffled. Banish after use.
It's pretty cool. It's rarely going to be applicable, I think, but you know. I'm gonna try to probably build Blue King Kai again with it. Probably won't get anywhere, but it's
What?
cool. Look at it. It's a Blue Unleashed.
Yeah, like I don't see any reason to run this card. It's very stocky. There's not much else to it, and yeah, the endurance 3 is nice, but like you, that's just a dead card at that point. Like it reminds me of that other blue palm blast or whatever it is. That the one with Vegeta on
Yeah,
it,
the
where
palm shot.
if you destroy allies, you get anger. But it's like, what ally deck are you running that you are like that fucking desperate for anger?
I think I've tried to think about what I could do with this card, and I have two thoughts in mind at this very moment that came to my head. One of them is Krillin, that's trying to blue training, because he can just sit there and monster tutor out blue trainings on 3 and 4. His revelation stack, for what that's worth, unleashed blue Krillin. Not saying it's good. I don't know. That was just the thought process, because blue training decks want to play with all the allies and shit, and any deck that's really benefiting out of allies leaving play, I guess, is kind of that's blue training is my thought. Probably bad. And then my second thought,
That's actually good.
yeah, I was trying to think what was my second thought was Frieza. Frieza being able to run some of the new levels, giving Frieza an extra kick and anger would be decent. Um, Considering that blue has great unleashed cards as is, he's got really good ability. He can start the game on 2 and start tutoring allies turn 1, and then if you pair him with like Unity, and then like grabbing was it Sorbet or whoever grabs another ally if he hits, so you could very easily turn 1 off the game out of the bat. Unity Mastery Frieza, turn your turn 1 level 2 with 3 allies out pretty easily, and then you pop a blue ritual for 4 anger. Could be pretty decent. That was another thought I had, so if that makes
I
sense.
think that when you try to assess cards like this one, you should just assume it's 2, because if you're playing an ally deck, that's your bread and butter, and you're not going to just throw that away for anger. That sought after in blue, that you're going to wreck your board to do it. But I can see you using like a couple of eyes that may have an attack, getting rid of 2 of them, gaining some anger, then maybe getting them back with, an attack or something that goes and tutors an ally or something. You know what I mean? I think that when people look at this, they think, okay, I'm going to get the 4 or 5 anger because I'm going to throw all my allies back. No, you're not going to do that. There's not going to be a game situation where you're going to throw your whole board away for a level. You know what I mean? Especially when there's cards with like Unleash still running around and stuff. Like there are cards that can get you to the next level without you wrecking your board to do it. But if you look at it and say, okay, all I want from this card is 2 anger, I can see that a little more understandable. Is that going to make a slot in your deck? That's another conversation.
Cell was the other guy I was thinking about. I forgot him. Cell, because he wants the anger support from 1. That was a thought.
This will probably be not bad in Cell because that's kind of his thing anyway. So now it's an issue of this being redundant with like Cell's draining and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, very true.
Mm.
Yeah.
See some potential with this card. Again, with maybe you run an earlier level that doesn't have ally tech, but then the higher levels do. Again, we keep hinting at a Goku Spirit Bomb deck. Well, if you're running that Goku level 1, yeah, you have Kaioken potentially if you draw it. You have Unleashed if you draw it. Blue Ritual. You're ideally trying to aim for the 3 or 4 of ally Goku to protect them. So I could see this helping push that. Yeah, you're shuffling them back in, but when they come back out, like maybe you've used the Sages, maybe not, but at least you have a way to tech them out of the deck at that point. So even Ginyu to a degree, like if you're playing the higher levels that can tech out of the deck, and you have a name card, and you have other things, it could create a cycle. Zach Johnson in our play group loves Bobbity. This is Bobbity named card right here.
Yeah, but Bobbity 3 is terrible, and his 4 is like super situational.
Yeah.
It's not cool. Come on.
I don't know.
But helps you get off of 1 and helps you get some mill going. Because each ally is leaving play.
I want to say this is the most interesting card that came out in the entire set. Or for blue, sorry. I shouldn't say the entire set. For blue, for sure. Maybe out of the styled cards, it's one of the probably my most interested one, but Okay,
More than the drill we just talked about.
oh, but that drill is just plain good. Not
Oh,
interesting.
okay.
Not interesting. My opinion. I ain't saying I'm right. Just my opinion. Don't
Gotcha.
remind me. Don't quote me on that because I'm gonna get really upset when you say that the next time I make it a bad opinion.
Blue Ritual 2021.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god. Blue Selfless Defense is the next card we got, and this card, I forgot who previewed this one, but really good card. I don't really know what to say. It's that event stops energy attack, and until the end of combat, any life card damage you would take is converted to stages instead.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, it's a 10 out of 10 card.
Mhm.
I think what's really cool is that you could just take stage damage on your MP to get to your allies quicker. So then you have Krillin ally and like Namek Ball 6 floating around where you could just mitigate that by 4.
Well, actually, I was thinking about that because don't stage modifiers don't factor in as after the life card is converted because it's doing it after because it's converting it to stage damage after modifiers, right? So it would only be able to bounce off of negative life cards effects. Like you don't get the negative stages. If you're getting hit for 5 life cards, you're getting hit for 5 stages, no matter what your negative is for stages. Or am I reading that wrong?
I think the
Logic is-
wording specifically is any damage you would take, so it implies the damage.
It's
I
successful.
think would it imply that damage has been calculated and it would be what's coming.
Damage isn't-
I don't know.
But damage
There's
isn't calculated
never been
until
a
it's
war.
successful, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I think you might be right. The order in which you calculate it, it would already be you do modifiers, then you would convert it after. So maybe that is how to. We should probably figure that one out.
Yeah, I've
that's
never
what-
seen this type of wording on a card before.
I will say this: if the mastery did have that -1 life mod, for like even if damage was calculated later, this
That would
would
be
have to
sick.
be a limit too.
you know,
Why is this card a limit
No.
2? I mean, I wish it was limit 3 BAU, personally. It's a stupidly powerful card. This kills the energy
Gohan
beats
can
decks.
Gohan can tutor it.
That's true.
Gohan can just
Yeah.
tutor it and just it's like time you can tutor.
Oh God.
Yeah, I suppose.
Maybe
Gross.
Yeah, this card is this is a silly card.
It's really good.
If anything, I have a comment for later when we get through more of the cards. But so blue teamwork is the next card. This is a double use physical attack if you have desperation and you control an ally. This is a boo card to me, blue boo, personally.
Blue Goku, man. I mean, MP's been needing some support, but I don't think he's good.
Well, you have to control an ally. So I guess
Well,
you could, like
you have to
GG.
control an ally, so you just have to, but you can only have one, right? Or you can have a board full of allies.
You can have a board full.
One. Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Then. Okay.
N is different than
8.
1.
Yeah, never mind. I misread that wrong. I thought they were changing words and making it simpler because I forgot those one ally effect cards were like so bad.
Yeah, I think it's sick with Goku. Like once he gets to level 4 and you can just keep getting this under the right conditions, it's so much damage. That's the first thing I thought of when I saw this card. I was like, when Goku gets to 4, he's just gonna terrorize everyone with this.
I don't know.
I play. I love this card because I love Blue Hero Boo. So this card is awesome for that.
Mhm.
I just like that. I mean, I like that it gives anger. That's I don't know. It's vanilla card, but good.
Yeah.
Endurance. Can't be mad at it. I guess.
Well, we'll move on to the next card since blue drastic blast, OPA. It's got no effect unless you have desperation, and it's OPA.
Every time I see a card like this, I feel like we're past this. and then we get a card like this. I'm like, this seems like a set 2 card, like a set 3 card. You know what I mean? Like
Reinforcements.
we've seen cards with windows full of text, right? And then like you think that's what needs to come out in order for any new cards to compete with what we already had. And then we see a card like this.
But and when you say that, but that blue drill is literally just 2 lines of text, and it's one of the best cards made for the
Yeah.
That's a good point.
The card is.
That's a good point.
The card is definitely goated. I think already. I think that Resurrection drill is amazing. But this card being Desperation. It's kind of like that nostalgia drill where it's like, how often are the decks running a bunch of allies gonna necessarily not have a dead card in hand? If they're running a lot of allies, they're not gonna like this card. If they're running a couple of allies like Unity, it's great. Because Unity is probably consistently gonna be able to dump their hand because they're gonna be more aggro. I feel like Unity is gonna be more aggro oriented. Or like combo oriented, so that's just my thought process.
It definitely needs, like was said earlier, you need an effect to make the desperation like a raise your anger 2 or a lower your opponent's anger 1 or something.
Yeah.
Endurance.
Something. It just seems so plain. Like it's not worth a card. That sounds terrible.
Yeah, I would love to see just like the drill. Again, search your life deck, period. Desperation. If you're, if you meet that condition, then search the discard pile.
Yeah.
Would definitely help it instead of both being tied behind it.
Well, anything you guys would have liked to see Blue do? I feel like I'm happy I got ally stuff.
I think it's cool. You got good cards. No mimicry support, but I don't know if mimicry is really
No, mimicry is fine. Mimicry is 100% fine right now. I think Blue's got really balanced out and just got a good pool of things for what it wants to do. It definitely lacked a bit on really not attack support for allies, but event support, blocks, and all that stuff. More support like that. The drill, Blue needed just a teensy bit more ally support. It got it, and I think we're good, and we can move on to some kind of different archetype. Let's go back to stage drain Blue or something. That's the thing.
Do you think Blue made out better than Black, or vice versa?
No, Black made it out way better.
I think undeniably that Resurrection Drill is one of the best cards in the set, but it doesn't make up for Black getting 6, I'll say 5 really good cards and 6th mediocre, or we'll say 2 mediocre cards and 4 really good cards. Hell no.
Yeah, it got the better mastery.
Yeah.
It kind of does a little less than the Blue mastery, but economy wise, but the effects of it are just so much better because your setups are going way further than your allies half the damn time.
I might be ready to argue that, but not yet. Not yet.
Hey. Well, we'll move on. Well, we'll move on. We'll move on to Namekian, the Empowered Mastery. I just think this mastery's just kind of got good generic effect, just good all around mastery.
Yeah.
The other half of Retribution brought back to life.
I've seen Eric play this with New Piccolo a lot. I don't know how it pairs with any other MPs or whatever, but for what it's worth, it's good. It's just free economy all for days, and with the New Piccolo, it pairs stupid well. I don't think there's any real synergy with other MPs for it. I think you're just gonna be running New Piccolo with this master to really utilize it until we get some new niche support. And you're stuck with the Namekian personality, so you're either just running Piccolo or Gohan for anything that's remotely aggro.
The disrespect.
You know I'm right. You playing passive as fuck with Dende, Slug, and Kami. You ain't being aggro.
I think any Namekian. I think this Masters is generically good. I think anybody could run this mastery, personally. And given that none of the none of the cards are really like there's a couple good like single trait Namekian cards, like, but most of them are like open to everybody. So I think this master works with anybody that just wants to do a little aggro. Um, so
I just love that it's a two anger mastery in Namekian, and it entices you to run something other than knowledge. And then if you pair it with MPs that can get other anger as well. So again, I think this mastery to a degree also makes it helps sell.
yeah,
Where
I did too.
that reduction in stages helps with the brackets, which may have not have retained as good as some of the newer MPs. But that two anger helps, especially with Cell's ally stack, where you can kind of even get a little more anger, and then those one anger cards that Namekian's been getting actually become viable instead of just hoping that some two anger Namekian card will eventually come out.
I think this mastery's sneaky good in Namekian. Namekian's got a bunch of energy attacks that just do things anyways. Like, and they're pretty large too. Like when you look at like your thrust and your salvos and stuff. Salvos is 7 off rip, so this is +1, and that's considerable damage. And I think it's going to be good more so because how good of Namekian is with Dragon Balls. Right, so here you have like you can filter away your Dragon Balls if you don't want them in combat, which is dope. You get an extra mod for capturing. Like I think this is just like Frank said, it's just like generically good, and it won't look it until you actually put it into practice, where you're like, oh wow, like this fills in a lot of the gaps that the Namekian Energy Beats has. You see it a lot when you play with Radiant. Like obviously, I'm known as the slug guy, right? But I've won games with Survival just because they let energy attack through and they get a +2 life card mod. You know what I mean? So like, I don't think this should be just ignored because like being able to filter gets rid of like a lot of that dead air. And I think that's actually one of the best effects in this game that no one really talks about. When you get like pitch a card from your hand and get something new, that's like one of my favorite abilities.
Yeah, Quick Distil's one of my favorite cards, so you get that on a mastery.
Mm-hmm.
The filter's great. Yeah. Well, we'll move on to the first card, first styled card. We have Dominican Reinforced Will, which is just Dragon Rider for Super Dragon Balls.
I don't think there's much to say. I mean, it's
wish-
cool. I mean,
Yeah, I wish this was freestyle. That's about it.
yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know why you'd play Super Dragon Balls in Namekian.
Yeah, and the last time we got like a free search for a Dragon Ball was the Earth Dragon Balls, and it was an event card last time, wasn't it? Like it was a Namekian not Namekian Inheritance. Wasn't that one the free search? Yeah.
Inheritance is the one that uses. You're thinking Malicious Intent for
Malicious
Slug?
Intent, yeah.
That
Yeah,
one.
the one entering combat. Search a Dragon Ball from your life deck. Oh, Wayne, you're muted.
What's the one that lets you just get a Namekian Dragon Ball? What's that one called?
That's Dragon. No, it's not Dragon.
The one that
Turban?
plays it or just searches it to put it in play?
It's like an event and it puts it in play. Is it waiting?
Namekian Wish. Or Namekian Ending, that's what it is.
Ending.
From set 6. But it shuffles away
Yeah,
at the
man.
end of combat, so it's like a surge.
I just wish that like when we got these new Dragon Balls, and like every time we get a new set of Dragon Balls, I wish like there was like some semblance of the set 7 tree. Remember how like the Earth Dragon Balls got all of the support that came with the balls? I just wish that happened more so every time we got a new, because we don't get a new set of Dragon Balls often.
Yeah.
So I think that when that happens, we should get like, and in all styles, not just the Namekian, cards that incentivize, some synergy with the Dragon Balls.
Yeah.
I think that would be really cool.
That would just take away Namekian's niche and like need to like stay relevant in the game, honestly. And I think with the way the Earth Dragon Balls were made, they were made to be like much riskier, like Dragon Balls to play around with and crit and like pass back and forth. So I think that's why I got so much support, because they were like such like binds to both you and your opponent. Like no matter who's getting them, like crazy shit's happening, and it's not a completely one-sided thing because you don't have Namek Ball 1 protecting stuff. So I feel it's like the same thing with the Super Dragon Balls. I think they're a lot better than the Earth Dragon Balls, but I guess since they're better, they didn't want to give it too much support and make them like too busted, I guess. At least for like cycling them the way you do with Earth Dragon Balls.
I think that Namekian should still have the best tech, but I think it would be cool if like each style had like one card that had something to do with if the Dragon Ball's in play. It could be a specific one, like it could be like a saying if you have Super Dragon Ball 4 as like a nod to like Goku's grandpa Gohan Dragon Ball 4 thing like that. I think that would be kind of cool. But like I hear what you're saying, Axel, about like it being Namekian's thing, and I respect that 100%. But I just think that they should get like a little bit more synergy with the Super Dragon Ball.
Yeah. That would have been nice in this.
Well, I wish any of the styles would have to encourage you to run these new Dragon Balls. Again, like we mentioned, it's rare when you get something like this. Super rare. And so not having any tech other than one card really devalues the set as a whole, unless they were just kind of waiting to see if people play it or not and then boost them up later. Even if it's just within Namekian, imagine if you tie a lot of the effects that you want a Namekian deck to have to being with Super Dragon Balls. Rather than knowledge being the default choice for most people, imagine if there's a 2-anger card, but you needed a Super Dragon Ball in play to use it. Like, you can do so much potential development with those Super Dragon Balls and Namekian or even other styles, and such powerful effects behind just playing those balls instead of always trying to restrict this because you always have to think of a previous mastery. Just reward people, give the carrot instead of the stick.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with everything. I agree with all you guys about they needed to make incentives for all styles, but we'll move on to the next. We'll move on to the next card here. Namekian Unburden Drill. This, of course, you discard a card from your hand to get a prevent, and then if your MP has only one trait, you can stop it instead. Desperation effect, gain 5 stages. Good card.
Is it? Oh. It's trait the only Namekian MP that really uses drills. Yeah, Kami can't really use that stop. I don't know what Namekian MP with one trait is going to be playing drills. Maybe one in the future, but
it should have had 2 traits because Gohan's the only outlier. Gohan and Cell,
maybe they didn't want Dende to have it. I guess they wanted to bounce. Maybe they just didn't want like Orange Kami, but Namekian or Dende. Yeah, I guess.
Dende's already a tank already.
It's still worth running in those decks, though. I think this is a great. This is a huge boost to Kami Namekian, because that was the one gripe I had with Kami like Radiant was that not having that defensive drill like that you get with like Red or you get with Orange especially. Even if it's a prevent. Prevents usually a lot of time can be quite enough.
Well, and the stage gain isn't locked behind the trait.
Yeah, that too.
So it's so incented. So even in Kami and even in other decks, like you run the Namekian block, the rejuvenated, grab a drill, you have this drill, hey look, I have a Dragon Ball in hand, okay, I'm gonna discard it. Oh look, it's the last card in my hand because it's dead. Gain 5 stages. Oh, I need those stages.
This and combat drill are gonna make Namekian drill decks really powerful.
I think it's just good generically to have too. Like I'm running one in Slug. It's been doing fine just off of the back of like getting it back with Crossguard, coupled with the fact that I'm not really leveling that much anymore because of the new level 2. So it has application as just like another stop for like when you draw the balls and you can't play them. It's pretty good, and Crossguard just allows you to just keep getting it back. So I think this card's another one that's sneaky good in just more than Kami.
Yeah. I think what's cool too is the FanZ 2 Slug is actually pretty playable to sit on. So you could easily get to Slug 2 and just sit with this drill out there and combat drill even. You just tank away. Yeah. Crit your balls back every turn.
Mm-hmm. I stopped shooting for the level 4. I try to win the game on 2 now just because it's more practical with the capture on the stack. So things be changing, I guess. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, we'll move on to the next card. Namekian Reverse. Stop a physical attack, raise your anger 1. Next attack deals +2 life. Might make it in some decks that are empowered. Might make it in some decks that are knowledge even, but probably not.
It's
It's
I
nice.
mean it's finally good to have a raise anger card for Namekian. So
That's not bad.
That's not BAU too. So
Solid. It's very solid block that just allows you to do something different in the Namekian style. So I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I could see this being run in Radiant too, some Radiant builds, like Radiant Cell, maybe Radiant Future Gohan, because the anger support's pretty nice on 2 MPs that can get anger, so respectable. And then of course Dominican Last Resort is energy block. Stop an energy attack, Larry points anger 1, and then Desperation remain 1. W's block, I don't think it's necessarily bad, but being BAE really sucks.
it does suck, but I think that's another proper use of Desperation Effect. It's a meh block already, but like a Desperation Remain one, that can be like the default Desperation Effect for a lot of cards, I think, and just ways to make them want to be used as Desperation cards. So I hope that is a trend that maybe continues.
I agree with that like a lot. I'm like picturing what you're saying, and like that makes perfect sense. The desperation effect has to be strong, and being able to use something twice is very strong. So I like that a lot.
I think it's not good on a block, but I agree otherwise.
We'll talk about it later, but I don't know why this isn't a Saiyan card.
And why are so many cards banished after use now? Like, is there a reason?
There's
already
an
have black
ass
now.
load of recursion in the game that we don't need. I think that's why.
That we got way too much like Yu-Gi-Oh graveyard discard, jibber jab and jungling stuff. You know, like it's banish or bust now.
Yeah, for real.
I just feel with this card though that if the lower anger was higher, it would justify banish after use. Where it's right now as is, I don't think it needs to be banished after use, especially if you're trying to compare it with the MP that is supposedly supposed to use desperation and wants to use desperation, or Gohan, where he's hoping to grab it from the discard pile, but if it's banish after use, and the physical version of this doesn't have desperation on it, then it just becomes a card, as we'll talk about when Saiyan comes around, that the MPs that are supposed to go with these cards, they're not quite synergizing as we've seen in some earlier sets.
Yeah.
And that synergy between the MP and the style helps encourage our less experienced or maybe they have a favorite character players to try out some of these new cards instead of just being like, oh, that card's just not better. Oh well.
Yeah.
And then they move on.
Well,
I
don't want to cut you up too much, but I will move on to the next. I think the next card here, just because I think we kind of getting the gist of that card. I think. But the next card is Namekian Wild Blast. This is a focused energy attack. Desperation deals +4 life, damage 5 life, hit raise anger 1, banish after use.
Good use of a desperation effect. I like it because you very well will use it even when you have other cards in your hand. But cool, it's the last card in your hand, +4 life cards. Gains in anger too. That's neat.
You're obviously very desperate for some damage, so why not use a desperation effect? It's so great seeing desperation effects properly used in multiple styles, except fucking one.
Yeah.
Like, how did they misfire this much on these desperation effects? I loving them, but like, we'll get to it eventually.
Yeah, I'm mostly just trying to keep the context on the style card itself, because we can definitely get into it a little bit more when we get there. But
focus.
Focus.
Like that focus. Might be the best thing about it.
Yeah, the Namekian's got a pretty nice suite of focused attacks. They got the hand burst. They got this one. They have the Force push or energy push from was Revelation, I think was when that came out. So Namekian's getting a lot of these like sneaky good focused attacks, and then I think this card having hit anger is just gravy. This card could make it in. I honestly think this card could make it in Radiant decks even. Potentially, it'd be really tough to fit it at this point, but Namekian's got a couple cool options with energies, with the focus mechanics that they got going on, and then just the all the different ways to modify. So.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Good card.
Yeah. Well, that's the end of the Namekian cards. Is there anything that you guys would have wanted to see in Namekian? I think we just kind of touched. We kind of already covered that we wanted maybe Super Dragon Ball support, maybe, but it seemed like
That's
that was
about it.
that was
I
about.
think it's fine. The mastery built on the existing card pool pretty well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just glad to see an energy beats mastery in that style.
Our rankings still have black on top. Black.
I'd go black.
Namekian blue.
I'd go black Namekian blue.
Yeah. Black's only better because Namekian can only be used by a handful of MPs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Good point.
We'll move into Aura Mastery. I think we all know what it does. I think when entering combat, you get to destroy a drill to search for a drill. I'm curious to see if this mastery supplants adaptive, personally, or combative in their roles.
I think so. I think that +1, -1 is so good on so many MPs. Like, I already hated the orange card that did this, and now that it's on a mastery that can also stack with that card, it's gross. This is so gross. Like, ignoring the secondary power, the infinite alone, I think encourages so many, like, just camp decks running this. And then even if you level Yamcha nightmares going through my brain right now.
Okay, nobody else got anything to say, so we'll move forward here.
No, I'm actually gonna step away for a little bit. I'm naturally repellent to orange cards, so I will be right back.
Well, Orange Redacted Drill, I got to preview this one. This one is just fodder to kill. This is essentially card is just here to kill fodder for the mastery. You get a non-style drill. I'm curious who they're trying to push for this. It seems like Android attack drill is going to be the main target for this card.
I mean, especially there was another new non-style drill. I mean, non-style drills are still plenty good and, outside of 20 and Trunks.
They got that gravity training drill.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I mean, it's pretty good to be able to just, get 3 stages and then get another non-style drill. I mean, classic orange value.
Okay. Yeah. We got Orange Blazing Aura. I like the art on this card quite a bit, and the effect is I think the effect on this is actually sneaky good. I like that they made an attached card, and again, I think this gives some MPs an opportunity, maybe an Adept and this Mastery to want to maybe play Unleashed, to recover your drills. So.
Yeah, they almost missed with this card by not having the effect when it attaches, but the fact that it does, it's rock solid.
Good.
We're not fans of orange, bro.
No, I like it's just the problem is these orange cards are just generically good, so it's I can't really give commentary. Okay, if you can't see why this card's good, Derek previewed Orange Backsmash. Really weird that they made this card a stage damage attack for a life card or energy oriented mastery. But it's whenever if you've destroyed a drill from play by one of your effects, you get to go grab a drill and play it. And it has a desperation effect that's focused, so
which makes it really odd that when you combine those two ideas together, staged and focused, life card beat Mastery.
Yeah.
You know what this is cool with is in a physical beats deck with that orange attack that says gain 2 anger and destroy a drill.
Charge
Mhm.
kick.
Charge
Yeah.
kick.
Cool.
Ooh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Go 10 maybe. Go 10
That's ever
destroys
gonna be.
drills on
Yeah.
3. Well, on 3
Oh,
only
yeah.
though.
That's neat. But, you know,
You can
it's
like
obviously strong.
You can combo with like set 1 Krillin. You got Krillin out, you can kill one of your drills. But that's that, and then in turn, isn't it? Or in that combat? I don't think that works. Never mind.
Wait, Krillin? Oh, you
Yeah.
Krillin ally. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
That's
That's a rejuvenation stat.
So
Rejuvenation step. Yeah, so that wouldn't work.
Yeah, this is strange. Got nothing for this one.
Yeah, I don't know why I don't know. This kind of maybe helps decks that are like hybrid beats, like maybe like a Tapion that's running like aggressive sword drill or something that like would like. I'm trying to think of some MP that would want mixed beats or would maybe consider running Aura Mastery for like the extra. Because the reason why I would see this card being run is like if you're running like aggressive sword drill MP, but even then like Adept just seems better. I don't know. Weird card.
Ruling question. When you level, are drills discarded or destroyed?
Discarded. Yeah.
Yeah.
The hell, man.
So even if you're leveling up, this does not help you.
This card also doesn't work with any of like the destroy your drills to mill kind of strategy either by doing stage damage. So this is just a fucking weird card. Not bad necessarily. I'm sure there's something that's gonna work with it, but consistently, I don't know.
Honestly, I'm glad.
Yeah.
They don't need another strong card.
Yeah. This card's silly. So Orange Charge
Next card
Blitz.
is pretty good.
This card I think is the best orange card. Oh man, I don't know if I can say that, but this card is like sneaky good, sneaky good. Like orange is starting to get like orange has got a few focused energy attacks, but now they got this one that shuffles 3 cards into your deck.
It's so good with Yamcha. Oh my god.
Especially at 1 to 0 cost.
Oh my god. Yeah, in Yamcha with the new mastery, it'll always be 0. It'll be free. And it isn't BAU, so you can keep using it on Yamcha too. It's pretty good.
18 gets this card. Goku gets this card. So like Goku 4, I mean those orange Goku decks powering up and just throwing, you know, as his level 4 effect, you go grab this to put 3 back in his deck and get a deck shuffle. I mean, what? I mean, and then he's got the aura card to like put a drill in at the end of a combat, or what is it, end of combat or something. Lot of like sneaky healing on orange's level.
Whoopee.
Yeah.
It might make a TN deck a little bit more viable in orange. Couple with like that drill that allows you to, you know, rejuvenate extra card. So it might be able to mitigate a lot of the damage that TN does to himself. He'll get a lot of the double attacks along with his tri-beam. He'll get like that one we just got that has like kid trunks on it that lets you shoot 2 attacks. So
Yeah,
that's kind of cool. Yeah, quick toss.
Yeah.
So that's something.
Yeah, I thought this is interesting that it banished cards from your opponent's pile as a hit effect. Because orange doesn't really have a lot of pile banish.
Well, now they do.
Yeah, this card is just like bread, or like just like, not bread. Sorry. Well, this card is just really good. I don't know what the comparison is. This card is really good.
Like bread.
Like bread. Like who doesn't like bread? It's just the state. It's like I don't know, not bread.
That was so weird, bro.
I know. I don't know what the hell. I'm just like, I just saw this card and I like this. I like every one of the effects that this card does. I like. I just don't like the human trait on it.
It's just focus.
I know.
It losing focus doesn't make it any that much worse. You know what I mean?
I know. Tom, and here's another card Tommy previewed. Orange Obstruction. It's energy attack lowers your opponent's anger 1, and then if you've destroyed a drill that you control this turn, you go search your discard pile for a drill and play it. Place it to play. I like this block. think it's good. I think it's fair.
Yeah, it's good. You can destroy your drill and stash it away in your discard pile until you level up.
It's funny too because the orange blocks are always so good. So like seeing one that like really like competes for spots where like you actually want to play it is kind of impressive. But like I can definitely see wanting to play a couple of these in your block suite.
I think they did an excellent job of making this card work amazing with Aura Mastery, but not necessarily staple status in any other mastery. But definitely playable in the other masters because it can lower anger.
It's not banish after use. Like almost all the energy blocks we've seen so far.
Yeah, oh my god.
Yeah.
Alright, well, that was orange. That was the speed run. As long as I don't expect an orange mastery to ever not work with drills, so I don't think it does. I don't think it's mattered what orange has gotten for the last few sets. I think orange has been fine for a long time in terms of like what they can do, and they have enough freestyle answers to make up for whatever they're lacking for tech, like anger tech or board tech for certain stuff.
Yep.
I had prefaced everybody when we started the video that I was going to talk a little, but then of course I've been talking a bunch for orange and some of the Namekian cards. But yeah, how would we rate orange cards so far then?
Bread.
I've got bread.
Rating of bread out of butter.
Bread out of 4. Oh man.
Better than blue.
Better than blue.
Yeah. I mean, it's orange. It's always going to be, you know, searching drills is pretty good.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if I got it above Namekian.
I wouldn't put it above Namekian. Personally.
You would?
I would not put it above Namekian.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Namekian was better.
Redacted Drill is like the only reason I would consider putting it over Namekian, but Redacted Drill being really specific to like 18. I mean, you can grab shit on Drill too, which I think is fair. Gravity Train Drill is actually not that bad. Fuck.
Our play group has put this mastery on top.
I
Out of
think. Oh man.
Just running this and minus stage +1 life, like for so many MPs unlocks level 1. And then even something like a new Piccolo out of this. Okay, you have a +1 life. You add another +1 life. You add another drill, another one, and next thing you know, even your simplest attack you can tutor every single turn is going to deal +5 or +6 life. Vegito, for example, the infinite basically undoes all of the nerfs to Vegito.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And so you just here you go, Vegito. Here's everything we took away from you in a mastery.
Yeah, I think it's hard to pick between this and Namekian Mastery being better masteries in a vacuum. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Man. I'm still putting them in above it.
Well,
Michael is different.
we're gonna move on to red. I messaged Axel and I'll see if he comes back now that we're on red because I wonder. I don't know if I don't think he likes his mastery that much, but red relentless mastery. I think you all know what it does. I'm not gonna read it. I'm lazy now, but this is a weird mastery. Like it's got some like good effect, 3 different good effects that don't really work together at all. This mastery exemplifies like how I felt blue style feels like playing. Does a lot of different things, but like none of them work together at all.
I think.
I mean, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think, you know, I like it. It's kind of more control-y than Red's been, and when you find like a deck that can really take advantage of all of the effects on it, it's gonna be pretty good.
I think that having a red mastery that allows you to be able to camp on whatever level you want to when you get there is worth exploring. You know what I mean? Because like for instance, like a MP like that has like anger built into like their suite, you can't stay there as good as it is. Like for instance, like Tapion, it's really hard to stay on Tapion level 1. In red, it wouldn't be. You just be able to not only heal yourself but stay where you want to stay. And I think doing that with different MPs is something that no other style has, if you know what I mean.
I think
So I think that's
you raised an excellent point with Tapion. This is like one of the red relentless decks I do want to get around building is Tapion Camp 1, because I've played plenty of games in Amplified Tapion where I can go to level 4 or I can sit on 1 all game and I can win either way. And Relentless letting you stay and giving you benefit to stay is pretty nice.
I think it'd be pretty cool with Tapion, pretty cool with Tien. And
Hero Boo is pretty
Hero
nice.
Blue.
Villain Boo, Hero, I'd say even maybe Deborah even.
And heals you also.
Yeah.
So even though the three effects don't really work together, they really work towards like you winning by survival. I would say 2 of the 3. The other one is just generically good by making an attack focus. Like who doesn't want that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just a good alternative to Ruthless, where you have a mod helping keep up with damage, and then making stuff focused is really great. I do kind of wish that maybe the Banished, instead of it being for anger, was some other effect that triggered with the rest of the red, package, whether it be crits or stage loss to kind of fetch out some of those older red cards.
I would have liked the stage loss. Would have been fun.
There's definitely some older archetypes you could build out with red where it's like if your opponent lost stages, do a thing. If you used a critical damage effect, do a thing. We already know that this is a fairly camp style mastery. And even if it wasn't, like if that was a Raise Anger 2, if it was banished a styled card, like then it could keep up with Ascension, which then would allow you to explore more with the mastery or just give you a guaranteed max kind of rejuve every combat. So then you're playing a camp rejuvenation. So I think it's, the effects don't quite match, but the idea that they're trying to push does match. If you build the card pool right.
I love the fact that the Banish doesn't care whether or not the attack is styled or not. So you can make a lot of non-styled attacks that have like really good hit effects that much harder to block, and I think that's like something that is good that people won't realize right away. Like that's really good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that actually. It does make it hard to.
Ascension not being able. The Raise Your Anger is actually really cool because it's like Ascension that can't really whiff. Like there's nothing worse than like sequencing your whole turnaround to skip on Ascension and then missing it. This is like for Trunks, for example. Obviously, you're gonna play Ascension over this, but if you were to play this, like you block an attack and then you go to use Ascension and you whiff, you're screwed. But instead, this you just don't get the anger. So
Is there some card in red that
it's cool.
like that when your anger gets slowed, you lower your opponent's anger? I feel like there needs to be some drill that does that. I don't think.
Use when you lower your anger, lower your opponent's anger the same amount.
Or just whenever your anger is lowered by your own card effect. That would be really nice for this mastery.
Yeah.
I thought there was a card
like
that.
turns where you're able to like play like red controlled anger drill and then into this. It's like you'll get like you can get up to 8 cards back. That's very significant.
Yeah.
A lot of cards.
Not to mention having like attitude drill out, or embarrassing drill. Not attitude drill, sorry,
And the
embarrassing
block
drill. Yeah.
Very hard to kill.
Very.
If you build the
I think
deck
you're
right.
thinking of Red Mischief. If your anger was lower as combat, raise your anger 1. If your opponent raise your anger 1.
Well, I know that card. Maybe they'll give red something along that line though.
Then the hit effect being if you banished a card from your life deck, raise your anger 1.
Yeah.
It's a 3 anger card if you You've chosen to get beaten in the face.
Yeah, if you give somebody dealt crit damage, lowered your anger, and you've used them. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it's a bad mastery. But we'll move on to the
Good.
first. You know, Axel's not here, but we'll talk about his card he previewed. Red Pacing Drill. Your style text to +1, and then instant power. After one of your effects lowers your anger, you raise your anger 1.
Solid.
Yeah.
Endurance 1.
Endurance 1.
+1 stage too.
Mm-hmm.
Even in energy beats, like if you're playing relentless energy beats, which I think could be a thing, your attacks are just dealing +2 stages. That's pretty good. Like for dropping AT brackets and getting a sneaky stage lock. Or if you're just physical beats, +1 stage is great.
Great point.
Yeah. I got.
Very true.
Yeah. Jeff, anything? Or you just kind of.
I would it's just a good card that helps support the mastery, like a lot of cards have been doing. I do wish maybe that it was a +2 stage, then it would be an orange card.
Oof.
But that might be a little steep to ask for red to have something orange has.
I'm gonna. I like the idea of the stage beat energy, and we'll get to that on a different card here. But next card is Red Precision Strike. I forgot who previewed this one, but this card is really wild. Focused, raise your anger 1. Or nobody. I don't think anybody previewed this one, but and then Desperation Power, Rejuvenate X. X equals your current anger level. 5 stages. Hit, banish X cards there upon discard pile. X is your current anger level.
Endurance too.
Yeah, Endurance too. Oh my God, is this card good?
Yeah.
Such a good card, and it's good to see a physical attack with endurance.
I
That's
love
the thing that's been holding back a lot of red physical beats.
Yeah. I love to see the cards that allow you to use your anger as a resource, like just for more than just leveling up. Like I just think having that as a mechanic is like it gives you so much more room to play with as like a deck builder. You know what I mean? So anytime I see that, I'm like instantly impressed with the card.
Yeah.
I think Red needed a good pile hate card, and all the ones that they have are kind of shit. So this is great. And then it's a focused. I mean, we saw Red Punishment come out like 2 sets ago at this point, in Fusion, and that card never got any play. And we were all kind of hoping that like Red would get more focused attacks. So it's nice to see. It's nice to see this card come through. And you know, even though it's already focused, it does still synergize with that new mastery. So lots of stupid healing potential in Relentless. If you got this card, Controlled Anger Drill, and the mastery, you could rejuvenate like 12 cards potentially, which is pretty fucking stupid. You know, so yeah, pretty wild. A lot of comeback potential in Red.
I would like to see some more AT plus. I don't know what's up with all this, like just basic space stage damage. I want to see some more AT plus, especially on Red.
See,
That's
A lot
like
of
what
cards don't have it anymore.
you know what I mean?
I like the flat stage damage personally.
Any reason?
Like Turles. although, like that's it. I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm just like, oh, Red Turles for this card. Yo, like Red Turles
PTSD.
Yeah, Red Turles Relentless. Keep him in the game, and so you can live long enough by rejuvenating every combat to just stay alive long enough to you catch your opponent with a bad hand and wipe them. I mean, it could be pretty good. At least my thinking. Whatever. PTSD. Yeah, that's funny. So Red Deterrence is the next card. So they're we'll just kind of I'm just gonna pair these 2 blocks together.
Yeah.
Red Dismissal and Red Deterrence both are raise your anger 1 energy and physical blocks, and then they both have a parenthetical that's board kill if it's banished from your deck. And they're both endurance 1, banish after use.
It sucks. I mean, these cards are great. These cards are going to be really good in Relentless and really good in Ascension. But they have a few like problems, like to like sink your board hate into this card that like will occasionally pop up, and a lot of the times you'll banish it and you probably won't even like really need it. Yeah, like board hate is a pretty kind of situational thing, and because these are BAU and have endurance, the endurance is great, but this card is like always going to be in the banish zone. And with all that comeback potential we were talking about with Red, You don't want your blocks to always be banished. That kind of stinks.
Yeah.
Yep. I think they're in desperate need of a card that allows you to go through your deck and banish a card. Kind of like the one that blue has that destroys. Like if red gets a couple of those, then you can start cherry picking the effects that you need by searching and banishing the cards that fit the situation. So I think. Go ahead.
I wish this thing banished from your effects, because if you could use banishes from your discard pile to destroy, whatever, that would be awesome. And these cards would be great. But still, not broken, but that'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, we do have red.
I think. Deterrence, I think it's called. No, not deterrence.
Disregard?
Yes.
Disregard,
Yeah. But it'd be cool to have more actual targets with disregard aside from just disregard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I do kind of wish that with this banish effect, it did banish your opponent's card. Like having it be your own banishing effect as well as banish after use means once it's out, it's out. So I do wish it was a little stronger. Particularly with the energy one. We've had so many good red energy blocks that have raising anger and lowering anger and more endurance and other effects, that adding in just a destroy and banish after use makes it really hard to kind of try to justify. Especially, we talked about earlier about there's a lot of recursion in this game, especially from the discard pile. If you're allies, attach cards, drills, setups, like so many ways to get things back, that I think this would be 100% auto include if it was banish your opponent's X. And it does suck that it's not reliable, but at least if it does go off and there's no target, you at least felt like, oh, that was worth still putting in the deck.
Yeah. I'm curious to see if we'll get more cards like Red Hustle that'll make these cards a little bit more consistent. But yeah, I agree with everything you guys have said.
Also makes you destroy them though, doesn't it?
No, it banishes.
Oh, banishes? Oh yeah, you're right then. That would be dope.
I forgot about that. That's cool.
So, interesting. Well, we have one final red card, and this kind of goes back to what Henry was saying. Red Charge Balls. This is an attached card that doesn't have an attach clause. Or no, if it's banished from your life deck, you attach it. So kind of like Red Reverse, actually. So, there's another card that works with Relentless Mastery. Energy attack costs 1, while attached, your style text to +1. Desperation, raising your 2. Damages 3 stages. Hit rejuve 1. If you're an alien, rejuve 3. This card is like a lot of really confusing effects that like don't really work together per se. It does push that whole styled stage energy attack gimmick. I like that it makes all your attacks still +1. It's attachable, so that's kind of cool. That like red gets a stage mod kind of card, kind of like how blue gets agility. But
you cool with the flat stage damage here, Frank?
So
is this bread to you?
You love energy attacks that deal stages.
So I like this.
The red special.
I like this for like red Ginyu, because you could play like Relentless Red Ginyu, get Birder out, and then get this card attached, and now you're dropping, and then like maybe Pacey Drill. I mean, who knows? Probably not, but like you got all these like
+4.
Yeah, you get like +4 on all your energy attacks all of a sudden, or all your styled ones. Like that could be pretty neat.
You know what character I think needs an errata that could really make this a spicy, just all around mastery? We need Kid Buu to go back to his original preview, where Kid Buu 1 can banish cards, styled cards from the deck.
Yeah.
And he was meant to be a stage beats. He was meant that if you get to 2, you have, you start building this unpreventable just beating machine. And so many of these cards, like if I could run the original preview version of Kid Buu, like this would be just automatically on my list of a deck to make and try out, because you have a +1 mod plus this mod makes it +2. You're caught up with Ruthless. If I was able to banish these styled cards once per combat, I then have selective, destroy targets before combat even starts. Like, I could get this attached, have another +1 mod. Like, there's so much potential, but I remember that character got changed specifically because, this whole Unleashed being a problem thing before Unleashed was nerfed. But now that Unleashed has been changed, I do wish we could look back at some of those earlier characters to really match what this new mastery is trying to do.
It would suck to be sitting in F as Kid Buu and have this attack do 3 stages. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
It would deal 5 though.
Oh man, like
right.
You have mastery of Boo, and then you got 3.
like none of the alien MPs want to do stage damage except Tapion, and even then Tapion does like primarily like life card kind of hybrid damage.
Mhm.
So this card, like, again, like the idea I'm thinking of is like it's supplemental and cool with like Ginyu sounds fun, like Birder in this sounds fun, but like the attach is cool, but like you never, like Wayne says, you don't ever want to draw this card. You never want to draw this card.
It's another card I really wish it could be banished from like your discard pile too, because then Ruthless could pop it off the top, and I love like red disregard, red panic strategy things, kind of like that. So yeah, I wish it was just from anywhere, but
It's cool, bro. One of us will win a
Crazy
Kai. One of us will win a Kai eventually, and that's the red card we'll make, okay? We'll make a pact right now
We're gonna
that
have
we'll
to
make the card that allows you to go through your deck and banish a card.
yeah,
Done.
I don't know.
it's sweet.
What you mean you don't know, Frank?
This card, just this
It'll
card.
do flat stage damage.
Yeah, bro. You're so bread.
Just for you.
Just the bread.
One stage.
All right. Well, that was red. I like the theme that they went. I overall like what they did with the mastery. It plays off everything red already was kind of had some level of. I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's cool. I mean, people say it's like not the best red master, but I think it's like fun. It'll have a lot of, I think, solid builds, and being able to, like Wayne said, being able to camp in red is we've never really had, so that's pretty neat. And not only camp, but like stay alive.
Mhm. Some of the best decks that I've ever been a part of have been camp decks, man. It's just like that level of consistency. We've all played those decks that relied on the Unleashed or relied on the blue, that stupid setup that lets you jump to 2.
Dominance.
That shit.
Blue dominance.
When you don't get those cards, your strategy is ruined. So just playing a deck where that doesn't matter and you're guaranteed to stay there unless your opponent interferes is something that red has never had access to, and I think that it's really cool because red inherently has a lot of cards just slapped on each card, so like it's inevitable. So now being not only is it not inevitable, but you can leverage that to your advantage. That just makes this so unique, and I think that it has a lot of wiggle room to be good.
I do. Just tagging on what was already mentioned earlier, I do wish some of these banish effects were just from anywhere. I even think of Majin Vegeta. Like if Majin Vegeta could banish these from the discard pile and just gain more advantage, like that would keep that MP like solid in with all these other high, AT MPs. Just the fact that Majin Vegeta has so many mods. You include this mastery that then rewards you for camping, even though you can like kind of raise your anger slowly. You have rejuvenation, which then when you do end up banishing your discard pile, like if you don't get effects, you're at least keeping some recursion. Like there would have been a lot of potential if it wasn't just banished from the life deck. And I think moving forward, there really needs to be some more cards put in that help stack cards back onto the deck to really take advantage of that.
Yeah. I'm worried about that buffing red ball personally, so I'm curious how they do it. If
Like top deck combat card.
Yeah, exactly. Well, where do we put Relentless? I feel like
Third.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You still have black on top, right?
I like the powered more than the meditative personally. We had the black cards on top. The black cards are on top.
Under that.
Yeah.
I'm ignoring orange. I don't. Yeah.
But red's
an
not
orange player.
red's not above orange, is it?
No, orange is probably better than orange, but
Mhm.
in my mind, I don't even see the orange mastery. So yeah,
I
I guess
I
red is fourth.
I actually
Yeah.
I really like the Relentless Mastery. Like I know I said some goof stuff about it, but like I think it's actually oh man, I think it's better than Aura. I'll say that. I think it's better than Aura. I think it's potentially better than Empowered Mastery, and I think it's better than Meditative Mastery.
You know what? I might be inclined to agree with you.
I think I'm gonna put it at number 2 confidently. I don't think I could put it at number 1 given the card pool, but like I really like that mastery. I think there's gonna be some really good decks with that mastery.
Yeah, it's my
Make,
favorite.
making any attack focus is a slept on effect, I think.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Is it time for the shit show?
Yeah, what do we are on our final style. And thank you for anybody that's still watching if you're enjoying this. But Saint Defiant Mastery, I like the I like the mastery. I just wish there was more cards to tutor. Otherwise, I think the mastery's awesome and solid.
I wish it was a 1-for-1 and not a 2-for-1. Because then you can use
Add
Evo.
another effect on there.
Like Evo Vegeta with this would have been sick if it was 1-for-1. Because then it'd just be like 3-1.
Oh, that would have been so good.
But it's counterintuitive. I don't know.
Even if it was 1-for-1, like
it's counterintuitive though. You're trying to get down in cards to get the desperation effect, and then the mastery goes 1-for-1, or it's a +1 depending on if you've used the if you use the power, you go down a card, but then you get to the power of the mastery. That's the block power, so you're trading even. So you're just going for consistency. And then if you do have a good hand, you dump your hand quick, then you get a +1 because you're just getting the power off the mastery, the prevent.
Are you speaking about like an Evo Vegeta scenario, or just general?
Just in general, just in general. Like the masteries, like I think a lot of people are thinking, oh, I have to drop. People aren't thinking about the block power. They're thinking I got to drop 2 good cards for 1 okay card or one card. But it's like, okay, if you do that when you're at 2 cards though, now you're down to 1 card and you have a block now available. So like you're actually still at like 2 cards.
Mhm.
Just you traded, for consistency to get the desperation effect card, and then you have the block. So you know that you're going to have a defensive option, which means you can always go grab an offensive option. So you're trading this, you're going for consistency. That's the way I look at it.
My biggest beef is there's not a desperation card yet that exists that's good enough to warrant throwing away 2 cards.
Yeah.
Period. Like, until there's one that's like that good, or a couple or a handful that are that good, then I don't want to do it.
Like you're not going to use. I don't think you're going to use the power of this mastery every turn though. That power at least. I don't think it needs to be used every turn either. Like
that's a good point too.
It's like
I guess.
if you're like running drills or dead cards or blocks that are just dead, like that's the whole idea is it's hand fixing when needed. It's like Resolute Mastery, eventually got cards that made you want to pitch every turn, but like you don't always use the discard effect on Resolute Mastery because sometimes you like your hand. That's the same thing with Defiant. If you like your hand, you just don't do the pitch.
Mm-hmm. I think you accelerate the usefulness of this mastery by making cards that have an effect when discarded. I think that can make the bottom ability way more viable. So that way you get some
smash.
Well,
One day I'll use it.
That card's like not bad. I don't know. It's definitely. I don't think that card's. I don't know if that card will stay in Defiant decks once we get some like some better desperation cards or some other discard
But
effect
it's
cards.
so cool.
It's not
Lower
a bad
your
card.
Anger too?
Gain stages lowers anger. Like everybody's complaining about not having stages like half the time. So like it does help you run. If you were to like again, you could be at 2 cards and you drop an empowered smash and another card. Now you have stages to perform an energy attack that you could go tutor with Defiant Mastery. Plus now you have a prevent to protect your stages for the next action. So you can like guarantee that you get to pop off that energy. So
I really wish this mastery. It's really hard to play this mastery in a game where action economy is the name of the game. We learned that when a lot of the with Draku and Vegito, like just drawing an extra card is so strong, especially if you can chain more actions. So ditching 2 cards from hand for 1 action, and as you mentioned, like you activate the block, so you're going equal, but it's hard to justify a mastery that's equal when you have other masteries that give you +1 action. And when I first saw this mastery, I actually misread it, and I think this change would make it significantly just change the game. Is I read it as prevent all damage from an attack, period, if you have 1 or less cards in hand, raised or lowered. That 1 period moving would make this mastery like this. Then it doesn't matter if it's discard 2 cards, because you always get the prevention. Anger, hate then becomes the desperation effect. And I loved that when I first misread it. Then it's like, okay, I got +1 life. I have damage prevention. Cool, this is kind of like a Dragon Ball-esque Saiyan mastery that we've kind of been looking at, or maybe an ally Saiyan mastery where, okay, I can protect my allies when I really need it, and then I have this life card thing. But then I went back after Mike pointed it out to me, like, oh no, that reads a lot different. Whoops. Oh. When am I ever going to use them?
Yeah, man. I think some discard effects would like put us right where we need to be with this one.
I think you raise a good point. It's like, you can either go for you either go for consistency with this mastery, or you go for the raw value of +1ing and having multiple +1s with the like oppressive mastery or even rampaging. So it'll be interesting to see how they balance it. And as Wayne was saying, let's go through the cards and we'll see what our options are for desperation cards to grab this set with this mastery. So, first card that we have though is Saiyan Overload Drill. It was discarded from during combat from your hand. You can play it, and then yeah, there you go. There's a start. And then of course, whenever you perform a style attack, you can drop a card from your hand to make it deal extra life cards based on the endurance on that card, but it is capped at 4. So no dropping Saiyan Dive for a 10+ life card attack, which I really would love to see, but oh well.
Yeah. It's pretty hard to warrant discarding a card from your hand. What if it just got blocked? You drop this card from your hand for like 2 extra life cards and then just gets stopped. Like,
oh god.
So I think.
What are you supposed
But you're
to do?
closer to desperation.
Yeah.
What dead cards have endurance?
Oh gosh.
They're not many.
Blocks.
You know
a lot of the blocks.
Cool is,
blocks. That's about it.
The drills.
It rejuvenates.
The other drills and blocks.
More endurance.
Something, I guess.
I like the idea of throwing like AK and Go tanks with this. I wish you could drop a dive to this, because then you could do a 15 life card dive with Go tanks.
Oof.
That's
filthy.
You know,
you're dirty man.
That's pretty gross. But I don't see this card getting ran in Defiant decks. This is gonna fit into like other decks that are just like again, like I think you could warrant this card in like an AK running deck, and it'd have to be Go tanks or Awakening Gohan, because they're the only ones that get styled.
In our playgroup, we talked a lot about this is good. Enhanced got another card in the next set, where we have Vegito. Okay, you gave Vegito a reliable way to discard 1 card every combat, and gain advantage or rejuve or cycle hands. Broly, if you happen to have a dead card, okay, the 1 attack I do throw. Here we go. It's gonna deal damage. And then even in rampaging, like, okay, yeah, I use rampage, like Go tanks rampaging. Okay, sure, yeah, I'll discard this. Goes into play. I still get my attack. Oh, look, that might hit.
Won't stay around very long and Go tanks rampaging.
No.
Now that I look at it, actually a lot of the important Saiyan drills do have endurance. Like Saiyan Distortion Drill, Muck Drill, this drill.
Protection Drill and Unleashing Drill all have endurance, but
No.
I don't know. For plus 1 or 2 life cards, you could just play it the next turn. You can just play your dead card.
I mean, yeah. Again, this is not a Defiant Master card. This is like I drew the 3 dead cards, and I have 1 attack in my hand, and I'm just gonna, make the most out of this.
15 life card, AK. Yeah.
This will see play. This will see play in like Vegito and maybe the new Goku stack, and maybe Broly.
Vegito is cool. I didn't think about that. Vegito is sick.
Yeah, this will see some play in some, but it's only the ones that can tutor drills like on the MP stack. Yeah. Our first Desperation card for Saiyan is Saiyan Assault. This card is a gain 3 stage physical attack, and then Desperation, if you have only 1 trait, it's focused and raise your anger 2. Damage is 6 stages, banish after use.
It should be shuffle in after use. And then it would be great.
Oh, yeah. I'm with you on that one.
Pretty hard to utilize this card, though. In what wants to kind of be a life beat style, you're only throwing a few attacks, so it's pretty hard to be stage beats with that. I guess it's cool if you're, energy beats. You gain 3 stages, but you don't have a hand. So what are those stages really going to do for you?
Is this effect worth pitching 2 cards to get?
No, bro.
It should be AT6.
Not even 18.
Well, I like that
stages, or at least up the traits, so you're using it in more characters to make the desperation worth it.
This card is it's not a bad card necessarily, but it's not a good desperation card.
Anytime a card has like printed Raise Your Anger 2, you have to kind of pay attention to it. But like, you're not using the mastery to get this. Like, it's like if I draw it, it's cool, but like,
yeah,
I'm not giving 2 cards for this.
Yeah.
Great niche rampaging card.
And Axel's not here, but Oppressive Turles with this card would be fun because it's a 6 stage. A lot of the flat stage attacks for Clench are 5, and then this gives you an ability to level easier. You could play this in Turles as your final card to potentially level to the new 2, so you don't have to worry. You get that crit in combat, or and you get the little extra pile banish ability.
Some good points there, Chief.
Yeah, and then I think somebody said Rampaging Broly. I think at some point, way before we got to this point. Even Vegeta.
I love Rampaging Broly.
Rampaging Vegeta with Evolution, or not Evolution, Awakening 3 and 4 could definitely rock this card with his new 1 and 2, because they're both single trait. And then he could run to end combat when he hits the level 3 and 4. With this card getting 3 anger, I mean, it could be pretty wild. So.
I wish it was 2 trait, because, again, Majin Vegeta. I love that deck. I love it in Rampaging too. Just getting 2 trait lets you use it with him. And it would be so good because that stage gain would then actually be applicable in some of those cases.
Yeah.
Because then you have Final Flash, which costs a 3. So I imagine Final Flash, maybe you lower yourself. This is the last card in hand. You do some shenanigans, play this card, okay. In Rampaging, it's 2 anger plus the hit is 3 anger. You're probably gonna level, especially if you got off of level 1 or 2. Like, the potential of this card goes up significantly.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, good points, everyone. We're gonna clump Saiyan Reversal and Saiyan Refocus together. And then we have one final card after that for Saiyan, and that's our final card. But Saiyan Reversal and Saiyan Refocus, just the same effects. They just discard themselves from hand to do an attack. They both have endurance, and they don't have any secondary effects other than to stop attacks.
I think having blocks like that is cool for like those balls to the wall, like aggro, just attack every turn kind of decks. Like, that's cool for those. But I wish they had a discard clause also.
Or desperation effect, like stops physical attack, desperation effect,
gain some stages, gain an anchor, rejuvenate one, or whatever. Just so you can search it. I also think it would be really cool if the block and the attack were flipped. I hate enhanced Broly, but I love rampaging Broly. So that would be like the perfect card for like rampaging Broly. And I think Saiyan has some cards that benefit from cards being attack icon, so it does lose that.
That's true.
It's really weird seeing, like, I 100% agree with Wayne. Like, all of this should just be when discarded from hand to a thing. When really it's like, we see a card like this that is encouraging you to discard it from your hand if you're not going to use it as a block. That's great, but that's like set 1 blue stuff going on. When we're way past that. Like, this should do more. And again, we've mentioned before the previous Saiyan cards, all of these cards they're better in a different mastery. So again, great. I love that now if I throw Vegito into a Saiyan deck, I have a block that I can discard to use for my trigger effects. Great. Like this would be a great card in a different set. This set should have more things to play into the mastery. So it's not a bad card, just not a great card right now.
Yeah. Seems very weak. Those discard effects seem kind of weak.
It should be like, what if it was like AT stages and AT life cards? Then it would be really cool.
Yeah.
Then they'd be really good.
Yeah. It would almost feel like physicals and stuff from back in the day.
Yeah. AT life cards, that's sweet. Never seen such a thing in any recent set.
And it would play with the mastery, giving you that +1, so you know it's at least going to deal 1 or 2 life cards.
What if when you discarded it, it was like 3 life cards, desperation effect plus AT, something like that. Then you can search it. No, plus AT.
Oh.
AT. Yeah.
I mean,
then you can search it, use it as a block or an attack.
Yeah. I think
that would be really cool.
I was really surprised they didn't give us a single searchable block, and I was so surprised they didn't give us like any searchable cards and we have one more card, but yeah, I think the fact that Saiyan didn't get a single searchable block, I mean, really, it's kind of okay because the whole idea is that, if you're pitching down your hand to get that attack, you're going to have the block on the mastery, so why do you want to search a block? I get it. So I think these cards make sense to me in a design point that they're viable for multiple masteries. They work with all the masteries in some regard, whether they're just getting out of your hand to lower your hand quicker, or they're just giving you extra fuel, or they're helping whatever MP, or they're helping like Saiyan Flying Kick pop off, or like Saiyan Battle Stance pop off, or Vegito pop off, whatever. But I don't think these cards are bad, but yeah, could they have maybe done a bit more impactful? I don't know. I think these cards are personally, I kind of feel like these cards are balanced okay, but they're not flashy, and I think the real power on them is what they enable you, the flexibility that they enable you in sequencing is more important maybe than the outright effect. But that's my speculation. I'll have to see how it goes in practice.
I can see the potential.
I can agree with that, yeah.
I can see the potential of this being like really scary moving forward, like kind of similar to how like Enhance was. When Enhance first came out, bro, it was like similar to this, just not as bad. Like there was only one good card, and that was Power Beam, right? That had like the discard like a good effect. And then the next set, that's when we got like the Desperate Blast and all the stupid things. And then after that, we're like, oh no, this is broken. Saiyan's the best style ever. And I can very well see that happening with this mastery. If in the next couple sets it gets the support that it needs, it could be really scary, bro. Having like just a straight like prevent on your block while you're like discarding cards, getting value from discarding the cards to get the one card that has the busted desperation effect. Like if you can synergize that with whatever an MP's doing, I could see this being like really, really impressive. No pun intended.
I think you make a great point, though. I think Wayne's made a great point the entire time is that to make that power, I think to make the search power more appealing, you'd put discard effects, but that would also, like, depending on how they word it, it would make you still gravitate towards oppressive or rampaging more. So
Mhm.
I feel like the better emphasis to go on to incentivize this mastery is to give you a really, really powerful desperation effect that you want to use early in the combat or like mid combat. Something that really maybe not like a Saiyan domination esque effect, but you need stuff like that or like stuff that's got remain. Like we've said it multiple times, remain's probably the best effect you can put on a desperation card. But like give it some really, really like effect that you really, really want to get off quick. And I think those are the directions that they can go into, and I'm super excited to see what they do with it.
Mhm.
I mean,
Well, and
they got a lot of
and
options for it.
to counter oppressive, you just have to make it during combat. A lot of the Saiyan discard cards have in the parenthetical that has to be discarded during combat.
Yeah.
We even mentioned, Saiyan and Powered Smash, like that's a set 4 card that says it has to be discarded during combat.
Yeah.
So I think there's an easy way to encourage extra discard effects without making oppressive or better.
Well, what about rampaging though too? You don't want to like necessarily throw anger cards into more anger into rampaging. I mean, they already have the one,
Yeah.
so
Well,
it's
that's
like
an easy fix. Just don't make it have anything to do with anger. You know what I mean?
Well, and rampaging requires that it has endurance. So you can have a really
Yeah,
good
you could just have 'em with-
desperation effect
on
and a really good discard effect, but the card doesn't have endurance, so rampaging can't get rid of it.
That's what I was kind of thinking too. That the way to get around both of those two is in combat, no endurance card, and then you could make it incredibly busted.
Mhm.
But then and then maybe like somebody like Vegito or somebody running singing drill could pop it maybe, or like running Saiyan charge kick or something. But I'm fine with those existing. I think.
And even these blocks, if these 2 blocks even just had desperation remain 1, like
That'd be really cool.
that would have been amazing. A very
The
simple
mastery would have been
effect.
pretty crazy.
The mastery would have been crazy. You would have had a ball deck, yeah. Because then it's like, okay, I get rid of this physical and to search my deck for the exact block I need to make sure that you're not getting through my wall. Like,
Yeah,
perfect.
that's the thing though. Imagine I did mention. I think I mentioned a ball deck earlier, and it's like, what if you could be at 2 cards in hand, they're dead, pitch them both, and get a double block plus an Omni off the mastery. You went from 2 dead cards to 3 blocks. That would be insane. That would be too much. That would be absolutely stupid. I don't care if one of them
And
defense.
Goku,
You know what I mean?
Goku can already, or not Balku, but like Goku can already, discard cards. So
Hey, this close for it to being like really powerful to like broken, and it can go either way. We're literally at like a fork road when it comes to support for this.
Yeah, I think the way that they made it not being like, so we're talking about the master. We we'll just say this: that final card, the Energy Flurry double use energy. I think this card's going to age really well because it's remain 1, and I think the shuffle is really great. Just to put that out there. So your 2 options right now. Mastery's limited, but like if they gave that mastery an unconditional +1 and then the ability to filter your hand, it'd be too good.
Yep.
yeah.
So
You can also read the wall of posts on Retro to get a pretty good taste for what people think of this.
if you think that mastery is bad, you are bad.
The mastery is great. It's
but
the card pool that's
Yeah.
lacking.
Yeah. I'd agree.
Agreed.
I think Gohan's the only playable person with this mastery right now. Future Gohan and Gohan.
Yeah, Future Gohan will be pretty good.
Because he can make up for, he can -1 your opponent with the level 1, or he can make up the actions with the level 3
Future
or 2.
Gohan ball.
I love, dude, he's like my favorite. You know what? Dende is probably my favorite. Oh man, fuck. Dende, Wheelo, and Future Gohan. I probably I think I got put Dende above Future Gohan. Dende is just too fucking hilarious now, but different conversation.
Would you say Dende's bread?
Dude, oh man, dude,
This is not going away, Frank.
This is not going away.
It's not going away.
No.
I keep.
Just like how you would tease me about punishment puns.
Oh my god. Well, I can only keep talking and cutting you guys off, but what would you guys? We're already touching on it, but what would you guys have liked to maybe seen Saiyan do, or maybe what would you like to see going forward from Saiyan? That's a kind of a wrap up here.
I already said just more discard effects.
We're not getting more desperation, just give me more discard stuff. And don't put it on a card that is endurance. Don't put it on a card that activates outside of combat. Bada bing, bada boom. We've avoided the other 2 masteries.
I think
Obviously, I think it'd be cool to have like this, like a desperation block that's not that good, but it's not BAU, so it's not that good. But you can always tutor it. Maybe like, and then I want a card that's not banish after use, that doesn't have a desperation effect, but it has like the desperation icon. Like it says, shuffle in 2 desperation cards from your discard pile in. So that way, like, it still synergizes with the mastery, but it can also put those cards back into your deck. I thought we'd like for sure have seen like a card like that, or like an attached card that says like saying rescue for a desperation card. I don't know.
That'd be a
Desperation
sneaky
card
way
is
to
what I
put
want
it.
to see.
I mean, Energy Flurry kind of does that, but I could fuck with that.
Yeah,
But a block doing that, I could fuck with that.
because it's good even if you draw it. Like even if you draw it and you don't search for it,
Yeah.
it sets up your search.
Yeah. Make it like an event Omni would be pretty
Dang,
cool.
that's big brain.
Yeah.
That is a fucking great idea, dude.
Damn, Henry, you won, bro. Damn.
Well, I suppose we can kind of close on that because at this point we're getting into the freestyle stuff. But I really like this set overall. I wish there was some more support for some of the stuff. I don't really think a super. Really curious to see what they're allowing for how they want to do super format. And that's kind of my
It'll be cool.
closing thoughts on that. I don't know if you guys have any comments closing on the set.
Black will need some attacks if you want to do super format. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a solid set. There, you can definitely tell there was a lot of thought put into a lot of these synergies, which has been hit or miss on some of the past sets.
Blue got really cool cards. All the styles got really cool cards. I think it'll be a fun set to start testing.
Mhm.
I agree.
No real losers with this one. Like even saying like we said, it will be good, just not yet. But outside of that, like every style I think was represented fairly, and there's a lot of fun stuff to look forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, guys, I just want to say thank you for being my guests and discussing this with me. It's really good to hear from all you guys. And again, I really appreciate your time and your input on all this. So thank you.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, for anybody still watching, I appreciate it. I will put links to the new cards and everything, and if you want, be looking forward to some deck lists coming out. I've got a few decks I've been working on for a long time and recent, but I will extend the invite to everybody in this video. If you guys want to do any decks with me on Build Beauties, by all means, shoot me a message, and that goes to anybody viewing as well. I'm really hoping to get a lot of content out and maybe try to do some decks built around specifically that super format at some point, but I'm going to just kind of keep to probably the FanZ as a whole stuff. But if anybody has good suggestions or requests, send me a PM and we'll work something out. But anyway, guys, really appreciate it again and appreciate everybody who's tuning in and listening. Take it easy. Peace.